good evening, and welcome to my channel, Skyrim ASMR. Tonight, I am going to show you my video game collection. It's not terribly big, and of course some games these days are just downloads, so I don't have any boxes or discs to show you for those, but I'll show you what I have. It is mainly PlayStation games. So the first one is Mass Effect Trilogy for the PlayStation 3. It's a BioWare game, which unfortunately makes it an EA game. So I have always played video games, but not a lot. I mostly played Final Fantasy, and you'll see one of those games here. And maybe some fun multiplayer games. But in 2017, I got really sick and couldn't do much. I thought, well, I can still play video games. So one of my friends recommended Mass Effect, and I fell in love with this game. I've played it through countless times. Let's see if any of this is interesting. No, this is just DLC, warranties and things. Well, if you're not familiar, Mass Effect is a first-person shooter. It's a single-player role-playing game or RPG, which is what I prefer. I don't like multiplayer online games. MMOs are not for me. I have played them before. Well, I've played World of Warcraft, but I don't have that in me anymore. So yeah, this is a series of 3 games. Tell the story of Commander Shepard and how she saves the galaxy. So, I think what I like about BioWare games is the companions, because I've played some other RPGs that are, for example, and I have this game here, Witcher. In Witcher you're playing as Geralt and he's alone for most of it. And I found the whole thing very lonely. And in BioWare games, your companions often talk to each other. They have personalities. I think in the 3rd game especially, they had them like joking around and doing stuff together, and it's really charming. And I think that makes the game a lot more fun. So Mass Effect holds a special place in my heart. The other thing about this game, like I said, I played it because I got sick with chronic migraines. One of the characters that you first meet, Caden Alenko, he also has chronic migraines, and I just liked that touch, although they never really talk about it after the first game, and I found that all kind of unrealistic, because as someone who suffers from migraines, I can tell you it affects your whole life. But he has these idle animations where he grabs his head and shakes it, or you can talk to them in different areas. And I know in one area he says, like, the lights are too bright, the music's too loud. And I feel you, buddy. I feel the same way. Okay. 3 games in one with Mass Effect. So the next game should not surprise you because it is also BioWare, and it is Dragon Age 2. I have Dragon Age Origins, but I have it on my PC, so I don't have any discs or anything. It's yeah, just software. But for Dragon Age 2, I went for PS3, in part because it was cheap, and in part because my laptop at the time was really terrible and couldn't even handle Origins. Like, I shouldn't have played it on that laptop. It probably ruined it a little bit. But yeah, I played this on PS3, and I think I might have only paid $5 for it. Dragon Age 2 follows Hawk and her friends that are not shown here. Let's see. And yeah, I think the disc is in the PS3 right now. I miss when games have these little booklets. I feel like often these days they don't have these nice little easy pieces of information. It's just like, figure it out. And maybe you're an adult who doesn't play a game for a month or two and you can't remember how to attack or defend. I had that problem with Witcher again. No, it's really not going to show me any pictures, which is, see, I don't like that. Nope. Well, you can see the male Hawk, who I never play as. Although his voice actor is pretty good. I don't have anything bad to say about him. I played Mass Effect as female Shepard, and I tried to play as male Shep, and I did not like the voice actor, so I never made it through. But in that vein, I also have Inquisition for PS3. This is the third game for Dragon Age. And here you can see the companions. Except, like, Josephine doesn't look like that. And I think Sarah's hair is weird too. But again, this is a single player RPG role-playing game. In this case, there's a giant hole in the sky, and you want to fix it, and the bad dude wants to make it bigger and destroy the world. I think that's a good summation. Unlike the previous Dragon Age games, there are many dragons in this game, so that was a vast improvement. The first Dragon Age game, I think, had one dragon. Two, maybe, if you count the archdemon, which I don't. So it really felt like a misnomer. Yeah. But this is actually really cool art, because this is the shape of a dragon here, if you didn't notice, and these are demons coming down from the hole in the sky, and this is you, the Inquisitor, holding up the wrong hand to close the sky, because you have a magical left hand that can close rifts in the sky. Yep. Okay. This is a much older game. Well, I don't know, actually. Well, older to me. So this game came out in 2014, but I purchased it in 2017. This game came out in, I'm not sure, 2010, 2011, but again, I didn't purchase it until 2017, so to me, these are newer, but this one I bought way back in the day. I feel like 2006? Is it that old? 2007. Yeah, 2007. Okay, so I bought this a long time ago, and I played it with my friends, and now I play it with my niece, who really The Littlebigplanet is you play as a little sock puppet, and you basically solve puzzles as your little sock puppet friend, and you can, get different costumes and look cuter and look bizarre and fun. I think you can make your own levels, but I've never done that. Yeah, and there's just a lot of fun things to do. It's very cute, the music's very sweet, and it's pretty harmless. I guess, you can die in the puzzles, but you are a sock, so that's not really a big deal. Yeah. And here we come to an HD remaster of the first game I ever really played. I remember seeing commercials for Final Fantasy X when I was pretty young, and it was this guy, Titus, and he was like on a rope doing that thing where people skate down the rope. What is that called? And the graphics looked so beautiful. He had this like waving blonde hair. So I bought this game. I didn't know how to play video games. I really didn't get it. It took me forever. I died all the time because I didn't know you could heal between battles. But I loved it. I thought it was so pretty. This character Yuna, I loved her whole vibe and her hair. I thought the graphics were gorgeous. And, there's a love story, and I was so into it. Yeah, and then there was a sequel, which is what this is from, and the sequel was not as good, very cheesy. The music was awful, just repetitive and not good. The styles were interesting. A lot of it was the girls just like changing outfits into all of these sort of ridiculous outfits, but it was good fun. Like, I enjoyed it. I was still pretty young too. I played these as an adult, and it's funny how you see things differently as an adult. Like, as a kid, I was so into this guy, and then now I'm like, oh, he's so young and so annoying. So that's fun. Okay, here's another pretty old one that I had way back in the day. Soul Calibur 4. I played this a lot with my friends. What year is it from? It's also gotta be like 2007. I haven't pulled this one out in a while. I still think it's a fun game to play with friends. Just one of those battle games. So not much of a story, though technically there is one. But there are, 20 characters, including Darth Vader for some reason. And they all want to fight each other in rounds of best 2 out of 3. And when they win, I don't remember what they win. Maybe they win this sword, which is maybe evil. But there's a lot of button mashing. I got really good at playing one specific guy. I don't remember any of their names, but there was this one move he had that I figured out where I would just take someone and throw them off the map, and I could do that pretty easily. Like, as soon as the match started, I would just pick them up, toss them off the map, and next round. So I was pretty good at this game briefly. Yeah, I'm sure there are more Soul Caliburs now, probably up to 10. Oh, this one's very dusty. This is another Final Fantasy game. So Final Fantasy X was like the first video game I really played. It was for PlayStation 2, and I liked it so much. My brother, turned out he had, Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9. So then I played those, which were a bit different. They had more of an open map. The style was a bit different than 10, which is more limited. And I really loved them. Particularly 9, I liked a lot. I know that 7 was the big one for so many people, but I really preferred 9. I did just purchase the Final Fantasy 7 Remake for my PS4, and I have been playing through it, but I think when I realized I was near the end, I kind of stopped because I don't like the ends of things. I did the same thing with this game. So this is Final Fantasy 13. The main character is Lightning. And honestly, the plot of this game was boring. And that's one thing I like about RPGs, is that they have plots. It's like you're playing a movie, but it's interactive. And often the plots are compelling and interesting, and there are twists and turns. And this one just didn't have much going on. Yeah, so like it almost had a plot that I cared about, and then it just didn't. There was no good payoff. I can't even really tell you, like, the way Cocoon, a human paradise, floats above the world of Pulse. When an ancient entity of Pulse origin awakens on the outskirts of a Cocoon city, paradise is threatened from within. Chosen by destiny, 6 must choose between saving mankind and saving themselves. I'm not even sure that's actually the plot. I don't think Cocoon is a paradise, because I think the military is like ousting people. Anyway, I can't even remember what they decide. Like, I don't know what the ending was, and I found myself, not caring. But the battle system was okay. So Littlebigplanet 2, they made a sequel, and it's really the same as the first one. You are a sock puppet, there's a world, you solve puzzles. It's very cute. It's lots of just like jumping and pushing and grabbing and flying through the air. The mechanics are cute. It's really, really fun to play multiplayer. To play co-op. I've never really bothered playing alone, but with co-op, you can like grab your buddy and toss. There's this stuff you can do. So, yeah. I don't know if this franchise still exists, like if they've made games for PS4 or what they're doing now. Okay, this game, Skyrim, I think I got this for very cheap because I bought it this year. No, I bought it at the end of 2019, so it came out in 2011. You've probably heard of it. There are memes of it all over the internet, but it's the Elder Scrolls V. It's the first Elder Scrolls game I've played. It's called Skyrim, and it's similar to how I felt about Witcher. It's a lot more lonely than the BioWare games. You can have a companion. I haven't bothered getting anyone beyond Lydia. I think I have a bunch of people who would follow me now, but Lydia does her job and she only complains a little bit, so why would I bother taking anyone else? I mean, it's true, she can't sneak and I can, and that sometimes causes problems, but yeah, Lydia's fine. So in Skyrim, there are many, many dragons. I actually, when I started playing and the dragons kept descending. I looked up to see if it was supposed to do that. I thought, well, if dragons are supposed to be, you know, not real, or supposed to be a legend in this game, there can't possibly be this many descending on me all the time. But there are. I didn't finish the game because I ended up getting too stressed out. I got a horse named Frost, and it's a very nice horse, but whenever a dragon descends on me, Frost tries to fight the dragon. And while that is so sweet and I really appreciate his effort, he always loses and dies, so I have to restart the game. And I try not to bring Frost with me anywhere because of this problem, but he fast travels to my location, and suddenly, you know, instead of just a nice normal fight with one of the many dragons, it's me trying to save Frost desperately. So I kind of gave up because I was so frustrated with my horse. Yeah. So that's where I'm at with Skyrim. I've heard that this is not an uncommon problem. Yeah. Okay. The next one is Mass Effect Andromeda. So this game is part of the Mass Effect franchise, but it has all new characters. So it's the same universe, but a different story. This is the first game I have ever bought, like, while it was new. You may have noticed all the games I've shown you so far were mostly pretty old, and I bought them, you know, 5 to 10 years after their heyday, which is normal for me. But after I played the first 3 Mass Effect games, I learned there would be a new one. And I loved those games so much, I decided to buy a new game full price for the first time. So, I bought this game. This game largely got panned. People complained about it. It was not beloved, but I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was nearly so bad as people said. I will say I didn't love it as much as the first 3 games, but I think part of me is just partial to the characters I already knew, and already had a deep fondness for. I'm not sure that's the fault of this game. I think it was a bit different too. So in the first 3 Mass Effect games, Commander Shepard, I think, starts at 29 years old. Whereas Ryder, the main character of this game, I think she's like 21. So there's a bit of a different vibe. Like, Shepard is impulsive, but Ryder is sort of, you know, winging it. So it is a different kind of character. I don't know, I liked it. I'll play the next Mass Effect game that comes out, so long as it is a single-player RPG and EA doesn't ruin it. But that seems more unlikely as time goes by. Okay, next is The Witcher Wild Hunt, with both DLC, Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine. And actually, those DLC were really nice. This game, a lot of people told me that I should buy this game when I liked Dragon Age, and I didn't like it as much. In part, like I said, because it was lonelier. Geralt is often alone. I also asked people, like, would I need to play Witcher 1 and 2 to understand what was happening in Witcher 3? And everyone said, no, you'll get it. And they were lying. I had to look up so much information because I had no idea who these characters were or what they were talking about. one of my friends was familiar with the franchise, so I just kept talking to her and being like, who are these people? What happened? So I don't think this is, if you care about stories, I don't think it's easy just to jump into the third game. I also think that if you are a woman, it isn't easy to jump into this game. They start the game in a really unimpressive way in terms of the female characters. So the first character you meet is Yennefer, and the way they introduce her was incredibly unappealing to me, and not in that I disliked her, but I disliked whoever framed her in the shot and in the scene, if that makes sense. They made it clear she was vain and nagging, and while they were sort of showing her this way, they were panning over her naked body, and that's like 5 minutes into the game. So I found that really off-putting. I almost turned it off and, never played again, because I was like, alright, this game was made by men. And I will say the treatment of women in this game is not amazing, but I do like Geralt. I do like a few other people in the game, and I like the TV show they made out of it in late 2019. So yeah, I think this CD Projekt Red is coming out with like a futuristic game. I forget what it's called, like Las Vegas 2077 or something. So I think I might play that. I did enjoy the fight system, so hopefully it's good. I don't know. But again, I don't know, buying full-priced games when there are so many good old games. Okay, and here we have another group. Detroit, Become Human, Heavy Rain, and Beyond Two Souls, which is the Quantic Dream Collection. I'll be honest, I have not played Heavy Rain or Beyond Two Souls yet, I guess, because I was told the best one was Detroit Become Human, and I played it. And I didn't finish it because I didn't like it. You follow these 3 characters who have names, I'm sure, and I didn't find myself caring about any of them. The story kind of bashes you over the head with it, and I just, the style of play is a little bit boring, and the story itself wasn't enough to get me beyond that I didn't really like the style of the game. So yeah, this character in particular, his growth, the way he develops felt very unrealistic to me. It felt like 8 steps were missing, and like these 2 were more compelling. They were more interesting to me. Their development felt more natural. But this guy, not so much. I mean, I do like the question of, like, what is the nature of being human? But some of these android things seem really silly in worlds in which we already treat some people not as humans. We don't need metaphor when we have reality. And the last game on that heavy note is Fire Emblem Three Houses. And Fire Emblem, I guess, is a franchise. I'm not familiar with any of their games. But Three Houses, this is really cute. It's a cute game, but also an interesting story. It was a compelling story that had me really hooked up until near the end, in which place the ending was sort of anticlimactic. But you choose one of the three houses, and they have a bunch of students there, and you get to know them, and you teach them, you have tea with them and dinner, and you sing with them, and they're very cute. And then you fight with them in this land where there's the church that sort of controls everyone, and then these three competing noble families, essentially, that control large swaths of land. Yeah, I don't want to say too much because a lot of it is spoilers, but yeah, there's mysteries. You yourself are a mystery, so you don't know where you came from, really. Your character is a little interesting in that way. So I'm not sure what I can say without spoiling it. I found this game really enjoyable. I spent a lot of time on it, and I know there's a lot of replay value because you learn different things depending on whose house you chose. So I was in Claude's house, but I think next time I'm going to choose Edelgard. Okay. I also have on the Switch Breath of the Wild and Mario Kart, so I do have other games, just not the discs, because more and more we're moving away from that, which is fine, I guess. I like having discs. I've been playing more games on my PC, and I find it annoying because sometimes they want you to be online to play a game that is not online, and that just seems frustrating and unnecessary. And I like just having a disc that requires no internet or no, outside influence, whatever, and I can just play a game by myself. The other game I have that I didn't mention is Stardew Valley. So I play Stardew Valley on my PlayStation 4, and I have a bunch of farms. So if you love these games, you should tell me if there's a really good game from the past decade that I didn't have here. You should tell me, and I'll look into it. Although I'll tell you, I'm not going to play Bioshock. It's too scary. So please only suggest games that are not terribly scary. Okay. I hope you are sleeping